more people up, but I want to get started here. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for everyone who is here live and attending. We have some incredible speakers today. We have 4 really awesome speakers, and then we have a professional comedian as well. It's going to make us laugh. We're going to have a lot of fun there because we could all use some laughter. And really what this whole thing is about, it's about, look, what's wrong is always available, but so is what's right. And we get to choose. We get to choose how we're going to live. We can't control what's going on. We have no control over, all the things going on. We don't have control over it, but we have absolute control what we are going to do in this situation. We have absolute control on what we're going to do in this situation. So here's what's going to be happening. When the speaker is speaking live, I'm going to ask you what you want to do is you're going to click speaker view at the top right corner, and then click the screen of the person who is speaking. That way they're gonna be up live and you'll see them like that. We wanna see your faces because, well, we really enjoy it. We wanna see your faces because we enjoy it. And we as speakers, and everyone who's a speaker, I know a lot of you guys are speakers, it's so much easier to communicate when you can see the faces of the people that you can see. When you can see the faces that you're actually speaking to, it's so much easier to communicate. And that's why we're doing it like this as opposed to just broadcasting this live, is because we want to be able to see you so that we can actually feel that kind of energy. So that's why you're here. And then also we want to make it so it's like a real thing, and you can applaud and you can do those kinds of things. So that's really cool. I know there's some more people over there. I'll be pulling you up in a second. I just wanted to address this to get started. One thing to know is that when the speaker is speaking, so I'm going to be broadcasting this on Facebook Live as well right now, but when the speaker is speaking, you don't need to worry because you're not going to be showing up there on there. Only the screen that's large on my side. So you're not going to be showing up there except for at the end when you applaud and things like that. So you don't have to feel like, oh no, am I going to be on there the whole time? You won't be, so that's not a worry at all. So I am going to go and share this over here. And then as soon as we get this shared, then we are going to get going with this and hear from our very first speaker today, who is the one and only Michelle Sorro. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Let me get this up. As soon as this is up, then we will be able to get going. Next. Never mind. I'm having tech issues there. I will broadcast this later. So we're going to stick with who is here live. And that's why it's so good to show up live rather than saying you'll just watch it later. So let me get everyone pulled up. And in the comments as we're getting going, let me know where everyone is coming from. In the comments, let me know where everyone's coming from. Tell me where you're coming from. And then how about, let's get one more person sharing the good news. Anyone else who wants to share with us some good news going on today? Greg, would love to hear from you. Greg, I can't hear you. You're muted.
Oh, what's Greg?
Oh, Greg Thredgold raised his hand.
Sorry about that. Yeah, we found out that that our new grandchild is going to be a boy.
Wow.
So in August, we'll have our 5th grandchild.
Well, congratulations. That's amazing. That's wonderful. Such good news. Life continues and keeps moving on. So, okay, well, we're going to get started officially now. Welcome to the Focus on the Good Inspirational Speaker Series. I'm so grateful that you are here live. Give yourselves a big round of applause for showing up and being here live. Thank you so much. So excited that you are here live. We have people here from New York, 2 from New York, people from Utah, Santa Clarita, California, Sonia, California, Santa Monica, California, Austin, Texas, Pasco, Washington, Woodland, California. We got people from all over the place, and I'm so grateful that you are here. We have 4 incredible speakers and a professional comedian today we'll be hearing from. And when I mention your name, just wave. We'll be hearing from Michelle Sorro first. Wonderful. Let's hear a round of applause. All right. And then we're going to be hearing from Erin Summ. Erin Summ right there. Fantastic. So exciting. And then Greg Thredgold will be going next, followed by Trina Sette. And then after that, we'll be hearing from our professional comedian, Steve Soelberg. So that's going to be really, really exciting. Glad that everyone is here. And just as we get started, this whole thing is about focusing on the good. It's about what's wrong is always available, and so is what's right. And I just wanted to take a moment and dedicate this episode to my friend Ben Montez, who passed away last week. I had nothing to do with what's going on in the world, but it was very young and it was very sudden. I want to dedicate this to him and to his family, because he is a man who lived this principle his whole life. He was so positive. He was so uplifting. And everybody who knew him loved him and felt so much joy and love coming from him and so much positivity. He never met a stranger. He is someone who I am the man I am today so much in part because of growing up with Ben and the example that he was to me. And so I wanted to dedicate this, what we're doing here, to him and to his memory. Anyway, sorry that I'm getting a little emotional, but he was a very dear friend of mine. So let's get started now, and we're going to hear from the one and only Michelle Sorro. Michelle is a wonderful speaker, an incredible professional, and a dear friend. And I'm so grateful to hear from her and her message today. So let's have a virtual round of applause for Michelle as she gets started for us. Okay, and then real quick, everyone, please mute themselves and then click speaker view and then click Michelle. All right, Michelle, take it away.
First of all, what you've created here, Jake, is so beautiful, and it's not unlike everything else that you've created. Such high integrity, such strong intention for community and connection, and I am so moved by what you shared at the top of the loss of your friend Ben. So absolutely, I will dedicate this message to him and his family now, because I could feel your heart, my friend, and the fact that you continue to do what you do helps me even more so now as a rising conscious leader to focus on the good. And the good is, what are our priorities in life, right? What really matters? See, I believe that this COVID time, and I get that Focus on the Good Inspirational Speaker Series is all around finding the good and the inspiration at any time. But I think this opportunity to self-reflect, right, and to see who we really are and where the triggers come up, where the fear comes up, the scarcity, the doubt, the worry, the concerns, right, for everyone else and ourselves in the future. It's a wonderful highlight. It's like a spotlight to show us where we really are in life. And most importantly here, right? So Focus on the Good for me is all around mindset. And I thought I would come in with just a couple of strategies for you to consider. And we could do this together, or you could do it later. But since we only have about 9 more minutes, I'll give them to you sort of high level. And this has been very helpful for me and my mastermind that I run. And I shared this in my podcast last week, and I got so many messages. So I wanted to share it with you as well, which is, it's a topic exactly like Jake said, which is what we can control. And of course, that's this, right? And when we're in our head, we're dead. That's a Tony Robbins phrase that's so widely used around the world, and it's so important. So we can drop back into our heart. That's where the magic is. But that gateway is always so difficult, right? And so we have various modalities that we do it. Some of us use breath work or meditation or journaling or mirror work or great juicy conversation. Some of you like a glass of wine or an extra piece of bread. But whatever that modality is for you to get present and in the moment, that's the gateway. That's the entry point to grace, to that peace, ease, and grace. But sometimes before we go there, we can't bypass the other stuff. So I thought what's been really helpful for me, because I've had 2 moments of like sheer panic. They've lasted about 5 minutes, but in these COVID times, it's like, whoa, where did I pick up on all that anxiety, all that fear, and all that panic? And drop a 1 if you can relate, so that I'm not the only one, on having those blips of spontaneous sort of temporary sheer panic. You're like, wait, I thought I was way beyond this. I thought I was more evolved than this. I go to Jake's events. I'm in the mastermind. I've read the books. I go to the seminars. And yet here I am in full-on panic of a future-based thing that's not even happening. Thank you for your honesty, right? So we can all get caught up in it. And so as I noticed that it's happened to me twice in the last month of our quarantine, unexpected time to self-reflect, I know who to call, right, when those moments hit, and it's my mom. And so I can call on her and ask her for some loving words of wisdom and support, and she'll bring me back to center. But then I thought, I don't want to miss the gift in this fear. And so what I did is I dug a little deeper, because see, whenever I'm really highly triggered, where I want to focus on is, where is the gift and the lesson and the opportunity for me to learn more about myself and or humanity. So I took it to the worst case scenario. So strategy number 3, or what I would recommend for you to consider today, is play out that worst case scenario. Worst case scenario. Doesn't mean you're not focusing on the good. There's going to be a reverse engineering of this. I promise you I'll bring you back to center. But play that out all the way. If you're not feeling financially sound, or you've got fear and scarcity around that, or what if you're all alone and like, oh my God, if I get the coronavirus, will I die? Play that all the way out so you can actually name it and claim it, and realize that that has nothing to do with this moment. When you focus on the good, you come back to present moment. And again, however your modalities will be to get you there. But give yourself that time to play it all the way out, because the nervous system needs to experience that, because it wants to go there temporarily and sporadically, always at the most inconvenient time, right? Or in the most inconvenient moments. So play it out. So the ego and the fear and all of that is in the sort of collective consciousness that can just hijack you at any given moment has a moment to express itself, because it just needs to come up. It's not real, it's not true, and it's not valid. It's all future-based. And then once you do that, then do yourself a favor of playing out the best case scenario. The best case scenario. What if this unbelievable gift of time that we all now have, we've never had enough of it, now we've got more of it. We're meeting at 3 o'clock in the Pacific, right, on a Thursday, and hanging out together, talking about the good things in life. How beautiful is that? Over technology. That's also a gift. So focusing on that good there, but playing out that best case scenario, which is asking yourself one fundamental question. Who will I be at the end of this? When we all come out of this, where will I be stronger? Where will I be more self-aware? Where will I have given more, created more community, created more impact? Where will I have thought less about myself and more about others? Where will I have been more productive and actually finish that digital course that I bought a year ago that I'm only into module 2, or finish that book, or start a new podcast, or launch my own coaching program, or free master classes, or whatever that means in these virtual reality times? Ask yourself, who will you be at the end of this? Where did this time grow you, evolve you, change you, make you better, have more compassion and empathy for humanity? See, I think we're all more connected and united and bonded now than ever. Right? I get to see your beautiful faces, and I know so many of you. I want to just call out your names like Mr. Rogers used to do, right? And so that's an important thing, but you got to get crystal clear about that vision. See, this is a time where vision-driven leaders will be made. Right? In the Great Depression, more millionaires came out of that time than ever in the history of time. I think that right now in the COVID times, more conscious leadership is going to come out. Because we now know it doesn't matter how much money you make, doesn't matter how busy you were and what your status was and what car you drove, what style clothes you wear and what couture you're wearing or not. We're all like, the playing field has been level. And it's a beautiful thing for us to self-reflect. Who do I want to be when I come out of this? So if you could write that down, what is a clear vision? And it's different than mission, because vision requires inspired action. And then wrap it up with the third piece that I want to leave you with here, because I think I'm almost out of time, if not right there, is that third piece is, once you've decided what that vision is, make that decision and stick with it. Stick with it and be it as if it already exists. In other words, if you're more empowered, more confident, more courageous, more brave, we've got the fears, we've got the insecurities, right? We've all declared that it happens from time to time. But as those come up, go right back to what that vision is. Who will you be on the end of it? The outcome of it? Be it now. And then stick to it, even in the most difficult moments. And when you forget temporarily, because we're human, have your few people, minimum 3, that you can call on or text and say, "Who can you just remind me of the good right now? Because I am temporarily forgetting, Mom, and I need you to remember." And you know what she said to me, by the way, which I'll leave you with? I said, "Mom, I've just had 5 minutes of nothing but fear and panic. I don't know where it came from, although I will admit I watched the news the night before, and it fed my subconscious all night long. So I woke up with this overwhelming dread and gloom of fear. Where am I going to be in business? Am I going to die alone? All the things, worst case scenario, take it out all the way. And I texted my mom and I said, I'm feeling really full of fear right now. Can you just remind me of the good? And she used these words, which is what I'll leave you with. My mom is awesome. For those of you who know her, know that. And she said, I totally get the fear, and yet you will never ever have to worry. You are loved beyond measure. Stand in the eye of the COVID storm and sing. And it was so beautiful and so powerful. And that's all I had to hear. I was like, okay, now my mom, that is her style, but I got back to center. I just needed to be snapped back, right? A pattern interrupt. So have your 3 people that you can call on that will give you a quick piece of a nugget, a golden, nugget of, you got this, you're going to be okay. This too shall pass. So that is what I wanted to share with you today, that we can absolutely control this, but we've got to have the gateway and the entry point to get there. So play it out worst case scenario, then give equal time to best case scenario, declare your vision and be that now.
Wow, that was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Michelle. Let's give her a round of applause. All right. Michelle, thank you so much. That was so beautiful. Can you share with everyone, what's the best place on social media to connect with you?
Facebook. Thank you, Jake, for asking. Facebook. And it's just Michelle Sorro. I see in my Zoom account, I'm yelling at you with my name. I put it in all caps. I don't know how that happened, but it's Michelle Sorro. And you can find me there. I'm wildly connected to Jake. I love Jake. Jake is one of my mentors, one of my dear friends, and everybody in his community I feel the same about. So you all feel like family. Love to say hi anytime.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michelle. Let's give her a big round of applause. I knew that Michelle has another event that she's running, so she is needing to leave. But in the comments just before she leaves, everyone share a little bit of love for Michelle, just so she can see how much she is appreciated there. And thank you so much.
Before I go, may I just ask one thing?
Please.
I'd love to know if you're going to leave a little comment. I'd love to know what you learned or what you could apply. What did you get? Was there a shift? Will you be willing to write out your division? Will you be willing to play out the worst case, best case scenario? I'd love to know that before I go, so that I can know that our work is done and we are perpetuating the good.
Love it.
Okay?
Love it. Yeah, please do. Please share that in the comments. And then also this video will be posted on Facebook later. And please go and share that comment on there as well. So now we're going to go to our next speaker, which is Erin Summ. Erin Summ is absolutely incredible. Another thing is she has a very similar type of speaking event that she does, and a Facebook group called Be the Light, which is super cool. So if you like this, go and check that out. So let's hear from Erin Summ. She's going to be really incredible, dear friend of mine as well. And everyone, let's give a big round of applause for Erin Summ. All right. It's funny when, hold on a second. It's funny when I do the virtual round of applause because everyone else is muted except for me. So we see the round of applause, but it's like just one like clap there. But anyway, it's funny. So let's hear from Erin Summ. One more round of applause for her. Let's see it.
Yay.
Okay, hold on. Let me get you on. Hold on a sec. I want to get the recording just right. Okay, there we go. Take it away.
All right. So I thought that I would talk a little bit about what we can do to spread the light right now during this time. Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see in the world. And I was already planning on talking about this, and I noticed that Jake had that quote in his email about this event. But Gandhi really lived that. He really lived the change that he wanted to see in the world. He did nonviolent protests. He was able to free India from British rule and ease poverty, and he supported women's rights, and he did so many things for other people's freedom in his life. He was not afraid to stand up what he believed in. He used his voice and his body in a way to protest against the things that he felt wasn't right in the world. He stood up for others, and he made a huge impact with his quiet, introvert confidence. He said, in a gentle way, you can shake the world. So sometimes we think that we need to be loud and big and bold and boisterous to make a difference, but that's not true. You can be quietly confident and make a huge impact. It doesn't matter if you're quiet or loud or big and bold. You can make the difference that you would like to make. So I want to ask you today, how can you be the change that you wish to see in the world? There are so many people suffering right now. There's so much pain happening, and they need what you've got. The people in this world need your light. They need you to be a leader. They want to hear your message. When people are afraid, they're seeking confidence and they're seeking clarity from other people, from their leaders, and they need that hope and that light in the darkness. And I want to invite you to be that light. So how can you make a difference right now? It doesn't have to be a big grand gesture. It can be a tiny little act of kindness. So I have some ideas for you. Maybe it's writing a thank you note to a nurse that you know, or collecting thank you notes from your friends and family members and sending them to your local hospital. Or maybe you put a large sign in your front living room window where passersby, your neighbors who are walking a lot these days, as they're walking by your house, maybe they'll see this big note that just says, "You are loved," or "It's all going to be all right." I had a friend post yesterday that her neighborhood is doing an Easter egg hunt where the kids go and find Easter eggs in people's windows. Well, she drew all these Easter eggs and colored them in, and she hung them in her windows so that the kids could have fun on Easter finding the Easter eggs. Maybe it's making a phone call to someone you haven't talked to in a while. I want you to ask yourself, what is on your heart right now? What message is on your heart right now? I see some people are spreading light on Facebook. That's great, sending private Facebook messages. Yeah. So I asked myself this question a couple weeks ago, and I started my Be the Light group, which Jake was just mentioning. And it was like a divine download in the middle of the night that, okay, this I'm just going to be a group. I'm going to have a speaker hour like Jake's doing, and it's going to be called Be the Light, and inspiration and uplifting messages from around the world. And within 9 days, I had 1,000 members in that group because I took inspired action. And I took that action from a place of service and light and love and sharing a message, sharing what people need to hear right now. And you can do that too. A few years ago, right after the last election, when there was a lot of anger and pain and hatred being spread, I had a little idea to make little stuffed hearts that I could turn into pins and distribute to people that I didn't know. And so I'm going to show you what I made here. You can see these. I made a few hundred of these over time. And I put a little message on the back and pinned it on the back that said, "I'm spreading love. You are loved, and you are love in this world." And I handed them to checkers, to the people at the grocery store. I left them around places. I hung them on car rear view mirrors as I went for walks in my neighborhood, and just left them around, left little love everywhere I went. And it took a lot of courage. I was a little embarrassed at first. I didn't know how people were going to react. But it was so amazing to see the love and the light and the way their faces lit up. And sometimes people would say, "Oh my God, thank you so much. I needed that so much right now. That's exactly what I needed. Thank you." And I would encourage them to pay it forward to someone else as well. So I had to really grow my confidence then as well and get outside of my comfort zone, because it was scary to approach strangers and say, "Hey, I have a gift for you. Can I give you some love?" You know? But it was so much fun. And over the last few years, I've done that several times. I've gotten my hearts out, I've made more, I've distributed them more times. And it gets easier. The more you do those things that are challenging or you're scared of, the easier it gets, the more you do it, the more your comfort zone grows. Another group in the Sacramento area I love to talk about is the Tower of Niceness. And that was started by 7 and 9-year-old brothers a few years ago. They've raised $136,000+ over the 5 years that they've been a nonprofit, and they're donating. They raise money for the homeless and all these different things. And right now, they're raising money to donate catered meals to seniors and nurses and frontline workers in the area who either can't leave their homes to buy food, or who are, out there saving lives and working in the hospitals. And so those are just $10 meals that people can donate and buy to help other people. So I gave you some ideas of some things that you can do right now to help other people. But I want to encourage you to stretch yourself right now. This is not a time to shrink. This is a time to spread your light, to uplift and empower other people. Your confidence in your message is so important right now. It's more important than ever. These are unprecedented times, and this is the time for you to be a beacon of light. So ask yourself, what can I do right now to help somebody else? It can be really small or it can be large. So if you aren't sharing your message, I want you to ask yourself, what are you afraid of? What's stopping you? Is it a belief? Maybe it's a fear or somebody else's belief. Oftentimes we carry around other people's beliefs that we've heard, or messages from somebody else saying that you can't do something, or that's stupid. Why would you want to do that? What messages are in your mind that are holding you back from sharing that message, from stepping forward, from making your impact right now, from sharing your light? When we hold ourselves back, it's often a fear of not enough value. I don't have a good enough message. I don't want to look dumb or silly. No one wants to hear it. It's all been said or done before. So you might need to build your confidence a little bit. You might need to dig deep in order to share your message, create new empowering beliefs, get outside your comfort zone like I did with the hearts, right? I had to step outside my comfort zone just to share these with strangers, but I made a difference. And so when you dig deep and you uncover those blocks and fears, you are able to make a much bigger impact. You build that confidence and you can share your message in a much bigger way. I mean, think about it. Have you ever seen someone who is lacking confidence but is making a huge impact in the world? Probably not. So taking action builds confidence. So think about what that message is that you want to share. What is on your heart that you've been holding back on, that you haven't been stepping forward and sharing? What's on your heart? And take that first step to do that. Taking action builds confidence. So if you're feeling helpless or hopeless right now and you're not really sure what to do, remember that who you are is love and light itself. Who you are is love and light itself. Let your passions inspire you. You know, Greg Kettner has his humor group, and he's been telling jokes and doing humor in there. Stand up. It's amazing. He's spreading light. So who you are makes a difference. All you have to do is be you. The more confidence you have in yourself and who you are, the more your light shines and the bigger difference you can make and the more people you can impact. Be the light that they're seeking.
All right, let's hear it for Erin. Let's see a big virtual round of applause.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Oh, let's see. And I want to get the other side of it. Wow, we have more people. There's a second page there. Now I'm seeing everyone. One more round of applause. I want to see everyone there. Awesome. Well, Erin, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your light. It really means a lot. And I know that Michelle's gone now, but one of the things she shared on Facebook, I don't know, yesterday or the day before is there are people that you don't think are paying attention that you are inspiring.
Yes.
And it's really true for everyone. And I can say specifically for you, you've been putting out so much good and people are seeing it. And thank you for doing that. And for everyone, you don't know the kinds of good that you do. And I know a lot of people here, are speakers and messengers and coaches, but I mean, this focus on the good is for everyone. This is for a general audience, but everyone, like, it doesn't matter if you're someone who has a large audience or if you're someone who has, 100 friends on Facebook, that's your friends and family, you can create ripple effects. And so thank you so much, Erin. I appreciate you. And thank you everyone else for being here. One more round of applause for Erin.
Thank you.
And if you enjoyed this message, please let her know. And Erin, where can people get connected with you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook. It's Erin Summ. I'm the only one on the planet, so it's easy to find. And you can come join me in my Be the Light group as well. I'll post the link in the comments here.
Okay, sounds good. And also, just because it's going to be over there as well. The replay of this will be on Facebook. So put that link down there as well. And also, I want to ask everyone who is here now, if you believe that this message is important, to be completely honest with you, this is something that's outside of my scope of what I do with my business. And this is I'm just here trying to share a positive message with the world. And I'm asking you if you can help me do that. And so this will be shared on Facebook later today. Can you please share this video? This video will be on Facebook. Can you please share it? I want this to be a whole movement and a ripple effect to where so much good is spread and we can focus on the good, find positivity, find inspiration, find hope during any challenge. So please go and do that. That will be very much appreciated. And now let's hear it for our next speaker, Mr. Greg Thredgold. Greg is America's stress coach. I don't know if you guys knew that, but that's who he is. He's an incredible author, an incredible coach, an incredible speaker, and I'm very excited to hear from him today. So let's hear it for Greg. All right, let me get you up on the screen so we get the video just right. There you go, Greg. Let's hear it. Greg, you are muted. I do not hear you. There you go. Try now. It said mute on my side. We might have clicked unmute at the same time.
Oh, I got it unmuted.
There we go. All right. Well, let's hear it.
Well, I want you to imagine, just imagine for a second, if you had the opportunity to sit down with one of the wisest people on the face of the earth that you got to pick, and you got to spend 3 weeks with this person listening and learning. Think how that would change your look of how you looked at life, how you looked at your family, how you looked at being a parent, how you looked at your career, and how you looked at success. Well, not many of us are going to get that opportunity, but actually 30 years ago, I had that actual opportunity. In Phoenix, when I lived there, I got to sit down with, to this date, the wisest person I had ever met in my life. Now, the only thing that was different is I didn't get to choose him, because if I would have, it would have been Gandhi. But he chose me, and his name wasn't Mahatma Gandhi, it was Bob. And before I tell you about Bob, I'm going to share with you today 2 of the pearls of wisdom that he shared with me. He shared with me a lot in 3 weeks, but I'm going to share 2 of the most important ones with you today. But let me tell you a little bit about Bob. In his early life, Bob was a college graduate with 2 degrees. He owned several businesses, and in his community was extremely wealthy and very successful. He received a lot of accolades and a lot of awards for the things he did with his businesses and with his money. So that's where Bob was early in his life. Let's roll the clock forward a little bit to 30 years ago when I met Bob. When I met Bob, he was in his 60s. I was in my late 20s. And when I met Bob, he was homeless. He was broke. He was suffering from terrible malnutrition. He was a recovering alcoholic and drug addict. He had no family, no wife, and no children. And he was living in the gutter. In Bob's own words, he told me, he said, you know, back when I was famous and had all the money and had all the fame, he said, I was the most miserable I'd ever been in my whole life. And he said, I just wanted to die every day. Now, when I met him and we talked, and here's the amazing part of where Bob and I came together in our lives. Bob and I met in a mental institution. We were both patients. I was there for a suicide attempt and to keep me alive. Bob was there because he'd had a slip and was there detoxing from an overdose of drugs. But as I talked to Bob and I saw where he was at now, broke and homeless and miserable, I asked him, I said, well, how do you look at life now? And he said, I am as happy as is possible in life. I am happy as you can be. He said, I get to wake up every day and thank God that I'm alive and share what I've learned of how to make people happy. He said, I get another day to serve my fellow men. And that's what I do all day, every day. So I want to share those two pearls with you that I learned from Bob. And Bob and I had a lot of time to share because in a mental institution, there's not a lot to do. You're only getting therapy a couple hours a day. And at first I didn't want to hear what Bob had to say. I'm like, no. I said, really not up for a little rah-rah session right now. But he'd come to me every morning. He'd go, Greg, what are you grateful for? And I said, well, Bob, I'm in a mental institution. I tried to kill myself. I don't know if my job's going to be there when I get out of here. I don't know if my wife and kids are going to leave me. He said, I said, I really don't have much to be grateful for. He said, that's a really good list. You're married? He said, I can tell you right now, hardly anybody in this place is still married. He said, your kids still love you. He said, very few people in there have their kids love them. He said, and you have a job. He said, plus in here, you have a bed. Not a very good bed, but you have a bed. You got 3 meals to eat. You're getting help. And he said, the best thing about this place that people don't know is you get all the free Jell-O and pudding you can eat. And it's amazing. So I like that part. But he'd come to me every day. And finally he just said, I know you don't want to talk. He said, do you know how to play ping pong? I said, I love ping pong. He said, well, they have a ping pong table here. We just need to set it up. And Bob and I played hundreds of hours of ping pong talking about life. So the first thing was kind of what I mentioned was gratitude. He said, I'd wake up every morning and I got another day to serve, another day to give myself to others. He said, I never could do that when I was rich and wealthy and running businesses. I was too busy. He said, now, he said, Greg, and he started to cry. He said, I've chosen to stay homeless. I've chosen it. He said, I can pull it together. I have in the past. He says, I've chosen to be with the homeless people because there I can make a great difference. And that's where I'm supposed to be. And I teach them to be so grateful for what they have in their lives. The second one took me a little more time to learn this. I don't know if I truly understood it, but Bob sat with me one day. He said, Greg, I've got this all figured out. Listen to me. And again, I was friends with Bob. We'd done a lot together, but he was coming down off drug overdose, so he wasn't always all there all the time. And he said, Greg, I've got this figured out. Listen to me. He said, us in here, everybody that's in mental hospitals is sane. And everybody that's out in the world is crazy. And I went, Bob, you might need to talk to the doctor. Have you taken your medication? I said, we're all sane in here. As I said, I've seen some pretty crazy things. A guy a couple of days ago, we didn't have chocolate pudding and he pulled his eye out because he was mad. So I said, I don't know what's going on with Bob, but I don't agree with that. He said, no, stay with me. Think about it. He said, you and I were complete strangers. We have become dear friends. We have prayed together. We have wept together. We have held each other. We have cried more and more and more and more. And we've prayed and we've uplifted each other and we've kept each other alive. He said, we tell each other, I love you. He said, how many people on the outside world, Greg, have ever done that for you other than your family? He said, no, we're sane. And we're here to help the crazy people that live out there. And so what Bob explained to me is that early in his career, he'd spent all his life climbing the ladder of success. And then when he was there, he found out that ladder had been up against the wrong wall his whole life. And he had nothing. He just had stuff. Empty, worthless stuff. So he loved being with the crazy people, and that's why he stayed homeless. And helping them become sane. Crazy people live on the earth to get empty, worthless treasures and stuff. Sane people understand that we're on earth to learn and to love. That's why we're on earth, is to learn and to love. And the majority of people in the world never learn to love. And so what Bob did is he put the right ladder up against the wall, and it's called the ladder of life. And it leads to true success in life. And that is learning to love and sharing what we have with people. So I want to challenge everybody today on the call to choose gratitude for everything in your life that you have. The good and the bad. That's a bonus pearl of wisdom you get from Bob. Be grateful for your challenges. They make you who you are, and they make you stronger, and they make you able to be there for other people. That was my first time in a mental hospital. Bob had been there in and out of those places for 30 years. He took me by the hand and he kept me alive those first 3 weeks. Now, I was in 3 other mental hospitals. First thing I did was look for Bob, but he wasn't there anymore. So, and I want to challenge you second to find out and check your ladder. Is it up against the wall that just gives you emptiness and selfishness? If it is, then you need to change to the ladder of life. And you need to help the crazy people and become one of the sane people. You don't have to sell all your stuff. You don't have to live in the gutter. But we need to make sure our ladder's up against the right wall. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Greg. That was fantastic. Let's see a round of applause there. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Greg. Greg, I think everyone can agree with this and probably feels the same way, but thank you so much for sharing a real and raw and authentic message. And I think we can all get something out of that, putting our ladder up against the right wall and learning to love. And I love that message. Where's the best place to get connected with you, Greg?
Probably Facebook. It's Greg Thredgold. Thread does not have an A in it, so it's TH Red and Gold.
TH Red Gold.
Red Gold.
I like it.
Red and Gold. And my group is Eliminate Your Stress and Find Success.
Okay. And great. Say it one more time so everyone can hear that.
Eliminate your stress and find success.
Great. And he puts a lot of really good stuff there. Hey, let's see one more round of applause. All right. Fantastic. Thanks so much, Greg. We appreciate it so much. And thank you for helping us focus on the good. Now we're going to hear from the wonderful Trina Sette. I'm so grateful for her and all that she does and the support that she brings to so many people. And let's see a round of applause for Trina Sette. Let's see it. All right. Well, so excited to hear from you. Let me get the screen up on you.
Okie dokie pokey.
What was that?
I said okie dokie pokey.
Okie dokie pokey. I like it. Okay, let's see. Where are you?
I'm right here.
Well, I know you're there, but okay, now we got you. Okay, now we're there. And if you want to see Trina, click speaker view on the top right and then double click her image. So Trina, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here, and I'm really just want to say a huge thank you to Jake for sharing this and giving us the opportunity to come out and spread some positivity, to focus on the good. And as soon as you put the offer up, I'm like, I know what I'm going to talk about. And so I'm really excited to share this with you because it's been a real game changer for me, and it's not something that I was very much aware of earlier in my life, and it has gotten in the last couple of years just brought much more to the forefront. And what it is the world is out to do you good. And I was like, well, you know, I mean, things happen. What do you mean the world is out to do me good? And it's, if you think that the world is not out to do you good, then you come in a place of blaming and complaining and talking about how this person did this and your boss did that and your best friend did this and your ex-husband did that, and you become a victim. And I, for a very long time, lived in that place. So I'm a super positive person. I talk all the time. I love to be happy, but things would happen. And I would get stressed out and I would be upset and I would go to my friends and I'm like, you know, my husband's an alcoholic and, you know, he stays up all night and I can't sleep. And my daughter's a millennial and she lives with me and she's not on time with the rent. And I had all of these things that I was complaining about all the time. And as I got into the world of personal development, I started taking some courses. I started working with Jack Canfield from Chicken Soup for the Soul. And he has a book called The Success Principles. And I was going through it. And one of the first ones is take responsibility for your life. And I was like, I don't think so. This is not my fault. How could it possibly be my fault? I don't even drink. So how is it my fault that my husband's an alcoholic? Well, what happened was, as I started going through my life and doing more personal development and started taking responsibility and started looking around, my life started to change. I started to see that I had different people in my life and I was spending more time in a positive environment. And what you don't understand is while you're in it, it's really hard to see it. Like it's really hard to see that the world is out doing you good if you're in the middle of a divorce, if you know something happened to you as a child, if you were abandoned, if you've been molested, if you were fired from your job. While those things are happening, it can be overwhelming and you can start to feel that way. Where if you would just for a minute flip that over and go, I wonder how the world is out to do me good. It's happening for me, which I had like at the end of the thing I was going to say, but it's happening for you, not to you. So it's a different way of looking at things. And so looking back, I can connect the dots and I can look back and say, wow, if I hadn't have been married to an alcoholic who decided he didn't want to participate in the marriage financially anymore, I never would have tried to do a network marketing company, which led me to Jack Canfield's Success Principles, which taught me how to build, that I'm responsible for my own life and I can design it. And I started my own company. And so I'm a professional accountability partner. And now running that company and looking back, this was all happening for me. It was everything that happened for me. The world was out to do me good. And you have to practice that. It's not going to happen just like immediately you're going to wait and it's like, oh, the world's out to do me good. You have to practice it almost like an affirmation. Say daily, the world is out to do me good. The world is out to do me good. I will tell you, there's a lot going on right now. And there's a lot with this COVID-19 and people are scared. And, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on that there's a lot of fear out there. And I was someone who a few weeks ago was like, oh, it's just like the flu. It's not that big a deal. It's not. And then as the more I watch the news, which you shouldn't do, the more fearful you get. But now as I watch the news and I'm like, like, what happens? What if this is not what we think is going to happen? And what if this is actually making the world a better place? And then I work from home, so I'm home alone a lot. And you know what? Because of COVID-19, all of a sudden I'm not alone. Look at how many people are in this room right now. Look at all of us that are here right now connecting that would not have been connected if it weren't for COVID-19, which is crazy. If you want to stay in a world of this is a terrible thing that's happening and the whole world's going to hell in a handbasket, and you want to think those thoughts, then you're going to feel bad. But if you start to think of all the good things that are happening, and you focus on all the good connections that are happening, and how somebody made a post the other day, and I was going to pull it up and read it, but it basically, the gist of it, what if kids are supposed to stay home and connect with their parents? And what if kids are supposed to have dinner together with their family now? And what if they're building relationships now? Like, what if it's not a bad thing that our kids are missing 2 months of school, right? It's all in how you're looking at everything. If you look at it like it's happening for you, then all of a sudden, everything changes. Your thoughts change. So I want you just for a second, take a minute and think to yourself, the world is out to harm me. The world is against me. The world doesn't love me. Nothing ever happens for me. And you notice, like, even as I'm saying it, like my shoulders are dropping. I'm starting to get upset. I'm becoming like, I feel like I'm feeling unwell. And you're probably noticing you're feeling the same way. Where if you were to flip it around and just for a second, the world is out to do me good. Like, everyone say that. The world is out to do me good. Like, you can't even say it without smiling. The world is out to do me good. The world is out to do me good. All of a sudden, I'm sitting up straighter. My shoulders are going back. The world is out to do me good. I don't know what's happening right now, but I know it's out to do me good. And if you believe that, then it changes your emotional being to a higher level. And we all want to be on a higher level. And this is how we focus on the good, is we say, the world is out to do me good. I don't know what's happening right now, but I know it's out to do me good. While I'm sitting in it, I can't see the future. But I believe when I'm in the future, I'll be able to look back at the past and go, oh my God, if it wasn't for COVID-19, then this wouldn't have happened, and this wouldn't have happened, and this wouldn't happen, and this wouldn't happen, and then I wouldn't be right here where I am today, right? We can't see the future, but if we look at it like it's going to happen for us, and and we believe that it's happening for us, then when we get to where we want to go, or where we are in the future, we'll be able to look back and see that. I just want to say and kind of leave you with this, is it's a choice. The greatest thing in the world is that we get to choose. So you can choose to believe that the world is out to harm you, or you can choose to believe that the world is out to do you good. And even though you might not be able to see it, because we can't see into the future, if you believe that it's out to do you good, you're going to be able to feel it on the inside. And the emotions is what raises your vibration, your emotions. If you walk around as a negative Nancy, that's what you're going to attract to you. We're all magnets, right? So if we have good emotions, I'm going to attract good people with good hearts, with good feelings, and I'm going to raise that vibration. And that, that was my thing. I could not wait to share that with you, that the world is out to do you good. And I just want to thank you all for listening. And that's all I have to say about that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I love that message. The world is out to do you good. Let's hear it for Trina. All right. Wonderful. Wonderful. So good. And everyone actually type into the comments the words just so they sink into your soul. Type in the world is out to do me good. Type that in there.
Yes.
And Trina, what's the best way to get connected with you?
The best way is, on Facebook, I have a group, it's Coaches, Consultants, and Trainers Network. You can go in there, type in Trina Sette. I'm not hard to find.
Sounds good. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Trina. How about we do this? You're not hearing the clapping. Let's give her some jazz hands there. Let's see that. All right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much, Trina. Now we are going to hear from a wonderful professional comedian. He is absolutely hilarious. And I can say that because Steve is a very good friend of mine, but I was actually a fan of his comedy before we became friends. So I'm really legitimately a fan of what he has to share. So I'm very excited to hear from Mr. Steve Soelberg. He's toured nationally all over the country, and really excited to hear from him. So let's see some jazz hands for Mr. Steve Soelberg. All right, there we go. Okay, let me pull you up on the screen. Let's get you there. I'm sure you're going to make a joke about my jazz hands now.
Love it.
Oh, wait, let's see. I still didn't get you.
Yeah.
Hold on. There we go. Now you're on there.
I'm on there. I'm on
Take
here.
it away, Steve.
That's fantastic. I love the jazz hands. That made me super happy. And I love saying the world is out to do me good. What a positive thing to feel. That's great. Because let's face it, there is some focus on the good aspects of this whole pandemic. I like to sometimes call it the apocalypse, just to be fun, just because I think, maybe, who knows? Jake, you live in California, so you have earthquakes all the time. You're used to them. You love them, maybe. I don't know. I live in Salt Lake City, Utah. We just had an earthquake about right at the start of the pandemic, which was a really good time. It was right when toilet paper were low, the grocery stores were low. We got hit with a big earthquake, and our fears were pointing one way. We were all fearful, like, we're all going to die of a virus. And then the earth shook our bodies, and it went, no, I'm going to get you this way. And we went, oh, you're such a kidder, Earth. I love it when you trick me the way you're going to kill me. But to be honest, this COVID-19 has made me feel tremendously powerful. One, because I've fulfilled my dream of going into a grocery store looking like a bandit who's ready to loot the place. In fact, it's a very weird time in the world, because at this point, if someone walks into the grocery store and I see no bandana, I see their mouth, I'm like, what is going on? This is very concerning. I don't trust this person at all. I need you to look like this. And then I feel much more safe. If I can't see your face, then I'm much more safe, obviously. But I've also noticed, because I'm not a big guy, I'm 5'9". I don't intimidate, but I have felt quite intimidating as you go into that grocery store, because you're trying to keep your 6 feet distance with everybody you see. You're like, okay, here we go. But there's no grocery store aisle that is 6 feet wide. I've never seen a 6 foot wide grocery store aisle. Every time I go down the aisle and another person is at the far end of that aisle, there's this like Wild West woo situation. You're like staring at them like, am I gonna go? Am I gonna go for the bread? Should I go for the bread? Maybe they'll only go halfway. You don't want to go too far, but yeah, you go for it. And if you're confident, this is a little tip. If you're confident, they'll usually back down, because no one wants to get 6 feet close. There are people who are a little bit weird, though. You got to be careful, and you can spot them as well. It feels very judgmental, but yeah, the people who maybe they were close talkers before this whole pandemic happened, and yeah, you can't trust that person to know 6 feet, because they didn't know 3 feet before normal conversation was happening. It's nice because I wasn't a particularly how do you say it, huggy person. I'm not very touchy-feely. So when this whole pandemic happened, there was part of me that was like, this is kind of great. Like, I don't have to shake your hand or hug, and even the fist bump. It's like, nah, it's all out. We don't have to do any of it. But I am a single guy, and week 3, I gotta be honest, week 3, I am at home just being like, I wouldn't mind somebody, just one high five, you start to feel like maybe just somebody out there. But so it's funny, the things that you get cocky about, that you're like, I don't need hugs, and now you're like, I need a hug so bad. And that's the hard part too, is, let's be honest, during a pandemic, I haven't slept great. Maybe some people have. But I tend to go to sleep with horrible sleep habits. I go to sleep with my laptop sitting on my bed, watching The Office, going, maybe the last season without Michael Scott will be good this time. But it's not, you know. And so you just go to bed and you're sad, you're stressed out. I had tons of gigs that canceled. Lots of money went out the door very quickly. And I was like, that was sad. And I was stressed. And I wake up and I'm like crying, and you go, oh no, I'm sad. Oh, don't touch your face. It's just this circle of crazy insanity. But ultimately, it's been good to be able to just reconnect in different ways, you know, do stand-up comedy shows where I don't get to hear any laughs, you know, that's great. Right before this pandemic happened, I had somebody online comment on one of my videos and they said, laugh track, this guy's got a laugh track. And I felt obligated to be like, no, that's the actual audience. But you know, hey, maybe they were being a little generous. Maybe they were a little generous. Right after that, I did a live stream comedy show with no audience. Guarantee she tuned in and she was like, see, I told you, not a single laugh out of that crowd. So I don't know, we'll see. It's been a fun experience. it, I've enjoyed getting to know Jake as well because, of course, Jake, you being involved with so many speakers and whatnot, and getting connected with these people who have this positivity and these positive messages. And but I have found you have to pick and choose a little bit, and be smart. I have a lot of speakers who will say, this is my favorite phrase. They love to say, "Live your best life." And you go, oh, okay, which life was I living? Like, how did you how did they know that I had multiple lives? People should not say live your best life. uh cats should say live your best life. They're the only ones. They have 9 lives. It would make sense for them to run around and be like, live your best life. Maybe Tiger King could say live your best life. It feels like he was living a few different lives, and maybe he should have chose a different one that was a little better. Uh, here's my commentary on Tiger King, because let's admit, we've all watched it. You've all had way more time than you should, and you tuned in. You tuned in to one of the weirdest shows ever that maybe would have been glossed over had we not all been trapped inside of our homes. But you compare the two main heroes of the story. I think they're both heroes. Maybe we'll see. It does feel like one is maybe a villain. Yeah, Tiger King, he's our hero, and then you have Carol Baskin. I think she's our villain, but I'm not sure. And honestly, on paper, if you were to say who's the good person, and you'd be like, well, Carol Baskin, she's like donating all her time and money and everything to these wild animals who need help. But for some reason, you're like, the crazy hick with the mullet who feeds his friends drugs, that guy's my hero. It's like, what? What happened? He's just, I don't know. We've lost our sense of bearing of what's right and wrong anymore. But it was a fun laugh. It was fun to watch them, and I enjoyed their weird struggle. I've had some good news in this whole thing. 3 of my friends have had babies during this time, which is a crazy time to have a baby. One of them is my younger brother's wife. So I got a new little niece. And it reminded me of a time that some of my friends, they came over to my house right before that time that they had their baby, that special time where you're prepping. And she said, we know you like music. We would love if you could help make us a playlist to listen to while we're giving birth, which is something I had not heard of. But apparently this is a thing that people like to do, is listen to a birthing playlist to get them in the mood. And I thought, is it like a calm thing? Like, do you want to listen to calm, like, ha, 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 having a baby, like just super nice? Or is it like a pump up thing? Because let's be honest, it's a workout having a baby. So do you just pump up? You get you're like, let the babies hit the floor, let the babies hit the floor, let that, you know, that's a little bit too much. Maybe not that song. Maybe some of you don't know that song. Not as many heavy metal listeners on the speaking circuit, but you never know. And I realized something. I realized, you guys, you don't need a playlist. You need a DJ, right? And that would be fantastic, right? You'd go into the birthing suite and there would be DJ Doula just ready to go. Just like, who's ready to have a baby today? Bah, 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 bah. You know, get you pumped up. You'd be like, throw your legs in the air. Get you all excited, ready to go. Let me hear you breathe. Scratching the records. It'd be perfect. That's the best way to do Lamaze, is do it right to the scratching records. He'd turn on Justin Bieber, be like, baby, 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 oh, and you'd be like, oh yeah, that's what we're here for. And then, of course, the magic moment. You don't know when the baby is gonna be born, right? It's like those EDM songs where the beat is building. You're like, da 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 da. Oh, the bass is gonna drop. That's when the baby's gonna be born, right? That would seem like it. And they're like, da 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 da. What's going on? What's going on? Da 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 da. No baby yet. What's going on, doc? And he's like, oh, it's breech birth. DJ Doula would be like, don't worry. Turn around. Every now and then you try to go feet first, but it's a head first situation. So get you ready. You'd have the baby. It'd be perfect. You know, you'd be like, who was there when I was delivered? You're like, that was actually Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre was right there with you. And so lots of good things to be excited about. Glad that I got to share with you guys today. Thanks for having me, and hope you keep focusing on the good.
Oh, let's hear it for Steve. Oh, thank you so much. It's so good to laugh. I got to say, DJ Doula is my favorite.
I mean, I like somebody said here, you just invented a whole new industry. I mean, I don't see why it's not happening right now. We need birthing DJ doulas.
Totally. You know, you never know. And so Steve has some really great comedy clips out on Facebook that you guys can see. You know, some of them haven't you had some with 1 million views, some of these?
A few of them have hit the 1 million mark. Yeah, which
awesome.
has been fun.
So where can people see those? Where can people get to see more of your comedy? Because it's really good.
Sure. Just find my name. Just search Steve Soelberg Comedy, and I have a Facebook fan page, or find me on Instagram under the same name, Twitter under the same name, or go to stevesoelberg.com, and that's where my tour dates are. Right now, it's just live stream dates. So,
yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, can we give Steve the virtual jazz hands? There we go. Love it.
I love that. That's so cool. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you everyone for coming. I just have a few minutes. I want to share a little message with you guys as we end here. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for being here and being a part of this movement, the Focus on the Good movement. Steve was talking about the mask, and it reminded me, I wanted to share with you my new coronavirus mask. I have a new coronavirus mask. This is it. This is my mask. I don't know if this is going to work. When I showed my wife this, and she said, well, it's covering all the places except for where you need it to cover. So this is my my coronavirus mask, and I don't know, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. And, oh man, now my hair's all messed up. Anyway, I want to say thank you, Evan, for coming. Thank you for being here. And I wanted to share a thought with you guys. Focus on the good. I wanted to share a thought I've been thinking about a lot, and that is this idea that necessity is the mother of invention. Right now, things are so different. There's so much just stuff going on, and it's kind of weird. There's some weird stuff going on right now. But always, throughout time, necessity is the mother of invention. And you know, the person who said that said it a long time ago. This is a quote from Plato. Plato is the person who said that necessity is the mother of invention. When it comes down to it, human beings are incredible. And yes, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I'm not an economist. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know all those things. But I do know this. I'm voting on the human race. I know that human beings are incredible and they come up with solutions. And that's what we do, because necessity is the mother of invention. And that maybe the world's going to look a little bit different over the next couple months than we planned. But there's going to be so many incredible things that come out of this. But we can't get to that place where we create invention. And this is in your personal life. This is in your personal life. This is in your business life. This is in everything that you have. Necessity, it is the mother of invention. And there's going to be some incredible things that come out of this time. And I'm not downplaying what's going on, because I know there's a lot of people that are suffering and there's a lot of challenges going on. There's a lot of people who are going through a lot of pain right now. But I do know this, that if you choose to make this time a time of invention, a time of reinvention, if you choose to look for solutions, you're going to find them. Because this philosophy of focus on the good, this is not about naive positivity. That's not what this is about. Sometimes the good news is I have a problem, but I can do something about it. That's sometimes what the good news is. Sometimes the good news is I have no control over what's going on right now. I have no control over the event that is going on in my life, but I have complete control over my response. Sometimes that's the good news. Sometimes the good news is, what is my response? How am I going to respond to this situation? And whatever you do, whatever outcome you get is going to be based on not just the event, but your event plus the response is going to equal that outcome. But please remember this. Necessity is the mother of invention. And I just wanted to share this list with you of some really great, amazing businesses that were started during big economic downtimes. And these are some of the biggest companies in the world: General Electric, General Motors, IBM, Disney, HP, Trader Joe's, FedEx, Microsoft, EA, and then also Salesforce, Google, and Facebook. These were things that were started. Let's see, actually, those ones were not started during, but they had their biggest growth during economic downtimes. And right now, yeah, there's some crazy stuff going on. But it doesn't mean that you just need to roll over and give up, because the people who decide to win are going to win. The people who decide to come out better at the end of this, make a decision right now. Make a decision and say, you know what? I'm going to be better off at the end of this than I would have been had this not happened. And anyone who has the attitude of necessity is the mother of all invention, that kind of attitude is what's going to get you to wherever it is that you want to be. Life is wonderful. Life is so beautiful. I'm so grateful for the opportunity that we have to share positive messages, to share positivity. Thank you for the speakers today. Thank you for showing up. And please, when this video goes out as the replay, please share this video so we can make this a massive movement of positivity. I want to share this with the world. There's so much good. Remember this, what's wrong is always available, but so is what's right. I choose to focus on the good. I hope you guys will too. I want to get you all up on screen one more time here. Let's get you all up on screen. Everyone, please come up on the camera so we can see you. And we're even going to take a family photo, if you will. We'll take a group photo here. So hold on, let me get up so it's everyone here. So everyone come up on the screen, here. Let's see, I'm gonna give just a minute so that everyone comes up, because there's a couple more that aren't there. If you don't want to, that's fine, you don't have to, but I'd love to see all of you. So, okay, well, we are going to do it right now. Here we go, everyone smile. Oh, I pushed the wrong button. I pushed the, here we go, let's do this one more time. Here we go. Everyone, oh, we got a message there. I don't want that in there. Okay, everyone smile. And now everyone do silly faces. Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you so much, everyone. So grateful for all of you. Choose to focus on the good. Jazz hands for everyone. Virtual high five.
live. All right, see you guys. Bye.
Bye.